Hello all, welcome to another Enterprise review. Today, Vance Major from No Budget Productions is with me. Cap was unable to make it today, but that's all right. He'll be here next week. So, how are you doing, Vance?
I am as relaxed as a man from Risa.
Oh, good lord. Oh, why do the rise of episodes? They're just so brutal 90% of the time. Even
Well,
throwing Worf into one didn't really fix it very much.
here's the thing that I think that they tried to do. They tried to give a glimpse into the day of a life of whoever they try to put into it. And the problem with that is they try too hard. The when the episodes work best is when they just do instead of try to overcompensate. And that's the problem with these episodes. They had some pretty good ideas, but they tried too hard. Um, I what I found really interesting was the what ifs. I found it really interesting that Hoshi hooked up with that one dude, just because it's like it gave her something to do, outside of whining and I'm not good enough and whatever. Outside that, it was interesting about the lady with the Sukalon and that one thread. But then Archer went out like a bitch.
Yeah.
The fact that Trip and Reed were into hijinks like Shag and Scooby. About those aliens. They didn't start out as dudes. Like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What? Like, I mean, it's like yaka. Like, what? Come on, guys. Really? Like, it's just like, come on, guys. What are we, 3? Just, like, and then at the end of the episode, you know, nobody talks about anything that happened. It's like, what? And we're
Yeah.
not even talking about what happened to the Doctor and Mayweather. It's just, they had any one of those threads could have been interesting and delved into, but again, just like the problem with Enterprise is they skim the surface on everything. They don't really delve into anything really, and then they walk away without saying anything, and we're
Yeah.
left as the audience going, why did I sit through an hour of that? Like, that's an hour of my time I can't get back.
Yeah. Like for me, I mean the Archer and that the lady he finds, who ends up being surgically altered. That was an interesting. Okay, now you've got me. Okay, let's see where this goes. It goes nowhere. Fuck you. Then, and then okay, har har har. We have the teenage joke. Trip and him get hoonswoggled. Okay, haha. The best part about the episode was the doc. Again,
Well,
that was like,
I didn't even find that part really interesting. I think the Doctor is one of the better characters of the show, but even that, I felt like that was a, haha, look how funny we are. Like, look how, like, to me, I felt like that was just like, that wasn't. It would have been funny if it had just been like, okay, this is funny, let's move on. But it was it was just like, okay, let's keep replaying the joke and play it again and play it again and play it again. It's kind of like when, like your 5-year-old kid tells you a joke and you laugh because it's a funny, it's funny for the kid telling the joke. You laugh because it's like, that's funny, and then he tells it again and you're like, oh, okay, it's funny. Okay, and you laugh because it's, he got a reaction the first time and you laugh because you're being nice, and then he tells it again and you're like, okay, it's not funny anymore, and then he tells it again and you're like, dude, now I just want to punch you in the face, and it's like, that's how I felt here. Not that I'm saying I want to punch kids, so nobody say Vance hits kids, I don't but like that's how I felt toward the Doctor character. Like, come on, guys, like, stop beating that dead horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like, for me, it was like, it was kind of the good funny of the show, unlike Trip and
It's the only funny.
Right?
You're like, I'm grasping whatever straws I can get here.
yeah, it's like damn, because the captain storyline in this pissed me off, like Archer's storyline, because you dropped a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of information that is really interesting, and you did absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah.
Archer doesn't even try to hunt her down. He notices she checked out, and that's it. We're good.
Yeah, he
Right?
sadly, what I'd like to see, like the thing is, they had too many characters go down. Instead of taking one or two characters and say, okay, we got an A story and B story. You had so many characters go down that you divided so much attention, and you didn't do anything with any of the characters.
Yeah.
And it was just a disservice to all characters. Instead of taking one storyline and just really delving into it, give us a character that we really, really, really care about. And then when the surprise comes, you're like, holy moly, what is this? Wow, I didn't see that coming. Like, it's just, by the time the surprise came, you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it was so much like, wow, I'm really invested. And Archer at this point in the show, he's so, Augusta Wind could blow this guy over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nothing, it's like, for a guy who was brought on saying, hey, this is a sci-fi legend from Quantum Leap. This to me is such a disservice to Scott Bakula. And because Archer is such a wimpy character, and I know in the show he gets better, but he's such a wimpy character.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what really annoys me is, okay, fine, she sneaks the thing, knocks him out, but then there should be a resolution. That's the problem I'm finding. There's no damn resolution to anything.
No.
It's all set up, next. Well, wait a second. You've just spent 45 minutes setting up this storyline, and there's no damn conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that he doesn't, he gave a shit enough to take a bioscan. He gave a shit enough to have the Enterprise, to radio up to the Enterprise to go, hey, run this scan for me. He gave a shit to do that. But not to, okay, you know what? Did somebody, we have to track her down.
I'll tell you one thing. One thing that really, really bothers me about this episode. If this was the Earth's first encounter with Risa, I never would have gone back. I would have put a stipulation saying, look, this is not the vacation planet to go to.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is known, at least to Starfleet, as the vacation's hotspot to go to. Because
every time they go, something screws up.
This is abysmal. This is, thinking of it in historical context. I know why we go to it in Next Gen time and in DS9 time. Like, I get that. That's fine. But if this is the first time we go, and this is just, you got Trip and Tucker, or Trip and Reed, they got their misadventure. You got Archer, who's the captain of the Federation, flagship at this point. He got, the kibbutz done, and this is the way it went for him. Like, there's no way in hell that I would be like, yeah, no, I don't care what everyone else says.
Yeah.
As that turns, it's kind of like the domino effect. Earth is the key part of the Federation, and A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, leads to whatever. There's no way that future Starfleet, based on this encounter, would have been like, yep, this is a hot spot for us. It would have been like,
this is
no,
a good place to
we're
go.
not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, but and the other thing too, it's just, but the part that pissed me off the most about this episode was the Archer storyline.
Yeah,
because it was the one out of everything that felt like it had, okay, this is fluff, this is fluff, this is the meat. Well, no, it was just a bone in broth with no, you know what I mean? Like it was just, you smelled the steak, you thought there was steak, and you went in and found out, no, it's just somebody boiling a steak bone. Like,
yeah, it's a ramen packet. You know, that's all it is. And let me ask you this, based on your experience with. Now, I of course, you know, to the audience who doesn't know, I've seen the entire series, so I have a different interpretation of the show. You know, I can tell you this is where it gets good, this is where it gets better, and this is, you know, I have a different outlook on Archer. So again, I'm looking, you know, I can look hindsight and say, nope, this is not, you know, this is not Archer. Looking at it, you have not seen the entire show. You're looking at it, you know, this is brand new to you. So you could stop right now and say, this shit sucks. What is your impression of Archer? What describe Archer as a character on the series thus far? What are your, because
that's the problem.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
My interpretation of Archer, based on what I know he is a hero of the Federation. Now, based on what you've seen, does that seem like the same person you've seen in the show thus far? Or does that seem like, what are you talking about?
Well, it depends, because right now, up until this point, there are actually 2 Archers.
Okay.
And it depends on who shows up to the show. Right? There's good Archer, who, you know, sticks to his guns, is very, you know, sticks to his morals, sticks to his, you know, his code. And then there's buffling buffoon Archer, like we saw today. Right? So it depends on which Archer you're talking about, because in up to now, there's 2. There's dumb Archer, and then there's Archer. So it just depends, because Archer is overall my favorite character out of most of them. I like Trip and Trip as well, but especially when Trip and Archer are talking to each other. But
right,
that's
you got a
another
really
story.
good moderate. Right.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of times of my brother, like my brother from another mother and myself. We've known each other for years, and this is, you know, their conversations remind me a lot of us.
Right.
I could see us having that conversation is a better way to put it. Whereas, so Archer, to me, when his storylines suck, it really pisses me off, because, you know, he's the one I'm watching the show for, because he's really good. That, and I like the Doctor. So it'd probably go Archer, Trip, the Doctor. But
right.
The Doctor has a more, his character is very consistent up until this point. It's very consistently played, very consistently written. Whereas Archer is kind of, I don't know if they had like 3 different writers writing Archer. So if this writer wrote him, then it was good. And if this writer wrote him, it sucked. And, you know, I don't know if that was the case, but to me, there's 2 different Archers. There's one that matches up to that description, and then there's one that would be like, yeah, no, dude. no, this guy's dumb as a stump. What the hell?
Yeah, I would say that he's written pretty inconsistent up to this point. He's not consistent. In the first episode, there were some glimpses of who he could be, and then it felt like it's pretty hit or miss up to this point.
Yeah, like and I said, it depends on which Archer shows up.
I would say it's you can't really sit there and describe his character traits. You can't really say he's noble, he's this. I mean, you can say, well, he's got a dog. You can sit there and say he's an explorer, but you can't really say he's noble. He's humorous. You know, he's got, you know, there are times where it's like he tries attempts at humor, but he's not humor. Like Trip, you can say, no, he's a pretty jovial character.
Yeah.
But with Archer, you know, sometimes he's this. He's kind of the captain at this point. He's kind of the captain that if the script needs him to be bumbling, he's bumbling. If the script needs him to be a hero, he tries to be heroic, but he's not necessarily a heroic captain.
Yeah.
You know, where in, I would say, you know, season 3, he's definitely, you know, there. Once you start moving from later season 2 to season 3, he definitely starts to take on, this is who he is. You know, kind of like with Cisco. Kind of like with Cisco, where he was kind of, you know, you couldn't quite put your finger on who he was. Once he got the Defiant and the Dominion came into the picture, you definitely knew who he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that. But yeah, so let's stick a fork in it because I think it's done.
Right, yeah.
Just grade and final thought to this bonfire.
I would say I'd say 1. The only thing that was good was the ending, because I mean I didn't have to watch it anymore, and I knew we'd be doing this, so we could end it. So I'd say 1. The only thing that was positive was the ideas for other stuff. So
yeah, and I would agree with you. I'd go a 1 because it was just, yeah, Archer storyline pissed me off, and the other 2 were just kind of fluff and really shouldn't have been a main focus. And then, well, the other 2, and then the other one was even more fluff with the Doc and yeah, the other guy. But yeah, it was just fluff upon fluff. So I would agree. So I want to thank you, Vance, for joining me this evening. And
oh, absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure, brother.
Alrighty. And to everyone else, please like, share, subscribe. Until next time, take her easy, folks.